Hey there, and welcome to the Happy Wife Mentor Podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Gremillion, certified coach, podcaster, mom of 3, and happy wife of 19 years. I help busy women in their 40s get their spark back in their marriages without any effort from their husbands. If you're ready to get happy and get the love and connection back that you desire, then you're in the right place. Here, I'll share tips and strategies that helped me go from meh in my marriage to thriving and more connected than ever before. Are you ready, friend? Grab a LaCroix and let's get started.
Welcome to the very first episode of the Happy Wife Mentor Podcast. I'm Jenny Gremillion, and I'm so excited to have you joining me today. It's such an honor to get to share my story and share everything that I've learned in my journey with all of you through this podcast. My hope is that my experience and what I've been through and my journey through this will inspire you to become an amazingly happy wife and have an amazing marriage because it's important. And so I think today what I wanted to do on this very first episode is just tell you a little bit about me and my journey. So yeah, let's get started. First of all, I just want to say this podcast is for you if you would describe yourself as a strong, independent woman. You've probably had a great career, you are successful in business, and that just kind of has always naturally come easy to you. You probably, like me, are a hard worker, you have a strong work ethic, and maybe marriage has just always been a little bit challenging for you. I know that's where I found myself, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. So I think I want to paint the picture for you of kind of how it was for me in marriage with some stories. My husband and I have been married for 19 years now, and I can honestly say that I am happily married. July will be 19 years in 2025 when I'm recording this. And when we got married, things were great. I mean, I married an amazing man. He was just the most gentleman guy I had ever met. Such a gentleman. And he was very independent. When we got married, I was 26 and he was 30. So he was already kind of into his career. And we actually met on a work meeting. We were both in sales. He was in management and I was in sales for the same company. And I just loved everything about him. He would take me on dates. We would travel around the country and meet up in fun places. We went all over the country, Miami, Las Vegas. And again, he was just such a gentleman and I felt safe with him. And yeah, so we got married about a year and a half after we met. And like I said, things were great the first few years. We started having children a couple of years into our marriage. And then we built a house together. And that was probably the beginning of some of our power struggles, I would describe it, in our marriage. I remember saying that we could never build a house again together. And if you've ever built a house and you're an opinionated, independent, strong-willed woman, then you know what I'm talking about. So it can be really challenging. And that was definitely a little challenging for us because I had an opinion about everything, and so did he. And I just remember thinking like, wait, why does he have an opinion about this when I'm the woman and I'm designing the house and you're not supposed to have an opinion about this? And I remember thinking to myself, kind of when we started building the house, like it's like when you find something you love. Like I loved the fact when I met him that he had an opinion, and this makes a lot more sense now, 19 years into it. But I still didn't understand this at the time when I thought this for the first time. But I remember the day that I thought to myself, I loved that about him, that he had an opinion when I met him. But like now that he has an opinion, that's a problem. He had an opinion about the house and, the decor. And I just didn't understand that. I mean, I grew up with a dad who did not have an opinion. Now I understand more why that was, but I didn't at the time. So our first big argument was over some art. When we got married, my husband had a condo downtown New Orleans, had a lot of fun art in it. And we got married. I moved into the condo with him and we would go on Friday night to the French Quarter and have dinner, and we would spend our weekends shopping for art. We were young, no kids, had great jobs, all that fun stuff. So we built this house, and I had in my mind how the house was going to be decorated. And it was not with bright, colorful art from Royal Street in the French Quarter. He really liked that art. And he said, yes, we are going to decorate the house with this art. We paid a lot of money for this art. It is going on the walls. And I was like, no, it's not. Our house is going to be very French country and really, whites and grays and whitewashed brick. So anyway, that was our first big argument. That's when I realized, like, wow, he has an opinion and that's not really cool. I'm supposed to get to make these decisions. So I had a vision for everything and how I wanted it to go. And that's just kind of how I've always operated. And it serves you well in business and in your career, but not always in marriage. My husband has even said that over the years, like, yeah, you just, if it doesn't go how you envisioned it, then there's a problem. And he's right. So yeah, I think for the first probably 10 or 15 years, he just kind of took it and there was no major breakdowns. He was just kind of like, this is how she is. And it kind of worked. I think the next big challenge for us was parenting. And especially when the kids we have 3 daughters, when they got to be preteens and teens, I guess to go back now to my upbringing, I was not really close with my dad growing up. And as I got older and when I became an adult and had children is really when it kind of hit me that bothered me and I wished it was different. And I've worked through all that now and I'm at peace with it. And my dad passed away in 2016. But I think I had, again, going back to, I had a vision for how everything was supposed to go. I had a vision and I just knew how it should go between my husband and my 3 daughters because I had grown up not close to my dad and I didn't want that for them. And so I guess in my mind, I thought I knew how he needed to be a dad. And that probably didn't sit very well with him because I'm the mom and he's the dad. And again, I think that's when even bigger power struggles started. If you have children, especially teens or preteens, you know that parenting is not always easy and each person has a view of how they feel that the kid should be parented and it doesn't always line up. So you really have to work together on that. There was just so much fear around the outcome of parenting that I think that a lot of times I put my foot down, metaphorically speaking, when I shouldn't have. And it was really just out of fear. So that's kind of how the next big power struggle started. And I just started to notice that things became what I would describe cold and distant. And it started this cycle between us. Again, there was no ever like major breakdown, but we kind of got into this slump where, and you wouldn't even really know it from the outside, but we got into this slump of where I didn't feel seen. I didn't feel really loved by him. We didn't have a lot of deep conversations, if you know what I mean. Like women, we like to talk and we like to really understand. We want to feel connected and that we understand what our man is feeling and thinking. And I didn't really feel any of that. Honestly, there was a point when I didn't really even know a lot of what was going on in his life. I didn't feel. And I would even eavesdrop on conversations that he had on the phone just to kind of see what was going on in his life. I noticed that he was staying away more. My husband travels for work, so he would travel during the week. And then as soon as he could get out the door to get to his hunting camp, he would be gone. And he might call on Sunday afternoon and say, hey, you know what? I think I'm just going to stay here till Monday. I'll just see you tomorrow. So that was really kind of hurtful as well. And I just couldn't crack the code. I worried a lot. I was crying a lot behind closed doors, just trying to figure this out. And again, there was that piece of like, I wanted my children to have a different experience than I had had. And so I wanted to show them, model for them a great marriage. And I just couldn't figure that out. I think one reason that he probably didn't talk to me is because it wasn't really safe to talk to me. I had an opinion about everything and I knew exactly what he should do about everything. And again, in my mind at the time, I didn't see any of this. I didn't think I was this way. but sometimes it's hard to realize these things about yourself. But I didn't see it that way. But now looking back, I totally see it. If he were to tell me anything, I always gave my opinion and exactly what he should do about it. Sometimes people, humans, your husband, they just want to be heard. And so why would you tell someone something deep and personal or just about your life in general if they're just going to tell you how they disagree with that and you should do XYZ differently, So that's what was going on there. So I started to seek out mentors that actually had what I wanted, which was a long-term happy marriage. I kind of looked around and the marriages that I saw around me, yeah, they might still be married, but they weren't happy. And there was just kind of this joke around yeah, well, this is just how things are. And I thought to myself, I don't want that. I remember seeing an older couple, they were probably in their late 60s in town one weekend. The wife just hugged the husband and kind of looked up at him and smiled. And you could just see the love that they had for each other and that they had a great relationship. And I just thought how do they have that? I just don't understand. And I don't really see us getting to that point. I don't think we're going to get a divorce, but does it just have to be ho-hum forever? So I sought out some mentors that actually had happy long-term marriages because that's what I wanted for us. And so that's what I did. And I learned a lot, which is what I'm going to be sharing with you guys here on the podcast. The main thing that I learned was I was very masculine. And again, we're going to get into the feminine and masculine balance, the kind of yin and yang on this podcast. It works really well in business, but in marriage, if you're in your masculine as a woman and you have a strong masculine man, which is really what we all want, again, we'll get into that in the future, but then you're going to bump up against each other. And there's probably going to be a lot of arguing, a lot of butting heads. And if any of this resonates with you, then welcome to the club. So yeah, I started to have a lot of self-realization and I did a lot of self-discovery to dig into a lot of what we're going to talk about here and how to get that love and connection that I wanted for us and for myself. So I think I'm going to stop right here for this episode. And in episode 2, I'm going to go a little bit deeper on some topics regarding my story. There's going to be a part 2. But for now, again, thank you for joining me here. I'm super excited that you chose to listen in. And I hope that this helped you get a glimpse of what my starting point was. And I'm excited to share with you going forward all the things that I have to teach you and hopefully that you will learn something from.
Hey girl, I hope this podcast episode blessed you today. If it helped you in any way, I would so appreciate it if you shared it with a friend. Sharing is caring, and it's the best way for you to support me in this work. I would also love to hear from you. You can DM me on Instagram at Jenny Gremillion, and you can also join my free Facebook community at the Happy Wife Club with Jenny Gremillion. So go do something fun for yourself today, and I'll see you right back here next week.